Ah! Oh, that hurt. Welcome back to Dubious Decisions Garage. Today, we're going to work on getting these installed. First, you got to figure out what the screw pitch is on these, and then see if we have enough in the junk bins to get these installed. Only need 2. So these are factory lights for a Morris Minor, multiple years. I don't plan on cleaning up any of this pitting. It's a rat rod. I'm going to leave it as is. If it gets worse, I might pull them and then paint them something that's not chrome. So to start, we have this little kit. FYI, most kits actually have the M61. Mine came with it, and then it ran away because it didn't like me very much. So hopefully it's not the M61. So it is a British car. British parts, so we are going to start with the metric side. M4 is too small. A little bit of wiggle, but I think that's definitely an M5.08, not an M4. Alright, I'm going to go see what I have in the parts bin. Let's try this other side. Yeah, that's good. Let's try it out. We do have some other options, and if I gotta go to the store, I'll go to the store. I think I'm gonna splice in some wires first on this one though, because once it's installed in the fender, it is gonna be difficult, not impossible, but more difficult than I'd like it to be to get wires done. Man, we got to be real careful with this rubber. Do not want to tear it, and we need it to sit properly. I'll figure that when I'm getting it on. All right, let's get some wires spliced on. Well, I'll throw at least a foot and a half on it. All right, so here's some green with the stripe on it, some red, and some more green with the stripe on it. Okay, I still need 2 more wires. Dum dum dum. Alright, that's just turning into a mess up here. There's some black and there's some green. We'll get this cleaned up a little bit. Alright, here's the butt end connectors. Here's the heat shrink. I would be tempted to use a lighter on this heat shrink, but as I'm not on the flight line and I have a heat gun, I'm just going to use the heat gun. Good to go. All right, now shrink wrap. It's nice pre-cut lengths, so just over the length of what you want, and that's what you want. Perfect. You want it to just snake over the either side, so I'm just kind of feeling with my fingers. And fire it this guy. That to sit up so it doesn't burn anything, and there we go. That should prevent most types of moisture intrusion and garbage intrusion. So I'm gonna get the rest of these on, and then we will work on getting it installed. Now that's done. Keep in mind, today we're just getting these installed. We're not getting them wired because there is no battery installed in the car right now, and I'm not ready to put a battery in the car. Hopefully I have enough room. Got 2 little screwdrivers, flat, and a Phillips. I hate flats, but do have the option, so I'll give it a try. But I'm going to try this one first. If you have not checked out the Spec Ops brand of tools, they are not a sponsor, but I'm bringing them up because, man, I really enjoy the tools I've bought from them so far have been great. And a portion of every purchase goes towards something to do with veterans or disabled vets. I don't remember what it is. Like I said, not a sponsor. I don't have a spiel. Just really like them. And I think you're generally not supposed to talk stuff up that you're not sponsored with, but I don't really care. Not doing a review video on them. Getting this rubber to stretch and stay. All right, let's get the top installed, and then we'll try to use our fingies to work around the rubber. Hopefully this hardware is golden and isn't too long. I don't think it is. Wish I was an alien with many, many hands. Or 100 pounds lighter. More flexible. Less prone to hurting myself. That doesn't want to go in. There we go. Let's see if we can get this top screw started. This is going to be fun and exciting. I may have to crawl under the car and get this lined up. All right, I have determined, now that I'm down there, that these are actually, thought they'd be perfect, but they're about a ½ inch too short. All right, so this is what we're gonna try to use now, some bolts. I am not convinced that those threads aren't jacked in there. Well, now it's going in. It won't go in when I'm upside down. Maybe that'll help clean the threads up, having run it down all the way once. And maybe I can get it started now with one of these newer bolts. I'm having a hard time holding things. And that thing's just a bugger of thread. So I'll go ahead and try to use the original one. Didn't really want to, but if that's the only one threading in, then that's the only one threading in. Now let's see if we can get it to thread in when I'm, like I said, upside down underneath the car. Temp number, I don't know, 12, 13, 23? I don't know where I'm at. All right, the bottom one's on. I'll go get a little screwdriver, try to work that rubber around. Almost feel like I should have installed these before I put the fenders on. Let's see if I can get the inside in first. As I pull the bolt out, which was barely started anyway. All right, back to it. All right, having lots of issues. So we're gonna actually, I went back and checked the other light, and it shouldn't be 1032, but 1032 seems to work pretty well. I mean, I know they're close to that metric size, but it shouldn't work, but it seems to be easier to thread in, but tight. So let's see. All right, frustratingly, I suppose, that actually threaded in fairly well. A little bit snugger than I'd like. Again, I don't want to strip, but I definitely got enough threads in that it would keep it tight. But unfortunately, I don't have screws that are appear to be long enough. I only have a couple of them. So I'm gonna go to the store and buy some more of these that are bolts, or at least Phillips head screws. Again, I do not like flats. So nervous about stripping out these lights. Part of me is regretting going with some original lights, but at the same time, it's also really gives me the look that I wanted to do on the back end of this. Don't want everything to be modern and LED and fancy. I think I might need to go back to the store and get shorter bolts, but it seems like I go too short and I can't get it started. I haven't found that happy medium yet. Temp number 948. Need to invent a concrete that is less bouncy. See, drop a nut, washer, socket. All just seems to like to run away from you at the most inopportune times. You know, that actually works pretty well, but I think I'm going to add a washer. I think that is magical. I am happy with that. Not happy with where I put my other Phillips screwdriver though. And cramping in 3, 2, oh wait, oh, it's already done it. So started going to an orthopedic hand doc a couple weeks back. They gave me exercises to do, and I'm being pretty faithful to them actually. But it's not, none of that's helping all this that's happening in my thumb. It's not really helping my fingers either, but I understand it takes time. This one definitely starts, but we're gonna have to shim it with some washers. All right, I am gonna hazard a guess 3. Actually, I'm gonna do 2. Threw a stack up on 3 on there, and I'm like, man, that's a lot. Incremental, right? I think that'll work well. We gotta check. Now the trick is to try to get this rubber in the right spot all the way around. I went ahead and did it first on the inside, figured that would be harder to try to work with. So let's try to get that done before we tighten up these screws. I didn't order, when I bought these, I didn't order new rubber gaskets. And I'm thinking now that I probably should have. Honestly, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with it as it sits. It ain't perfect, but this car is far from perfect. So I'll go ahead and get everything snugged up down below, get that looseness out of there, and then start on the other side. Which I gave myself just a bit of extra wire on this. And by a bit, I gave myself all the extra wire on this. That's all right. More to feed, but I don't have to worry about not having enough, I guess. That went a lot easier than the other one did. And this rubber is actually better than the other one is as far as not being jacked up. A lot better. Not perfect, but a lot better. Alrighty, let's go get the hardware. Alright, we are going to try to use the same hardware setup as the other side. I was checking earlier, it seemed like 1032 for some weird reason seemed to want to work better on this light than the M5.8s. Don't know why. I also know that there's mosquitoes out here. I also know I'm not a left-handed person. And if you think words are dumb, words are hard, try to see me use my left hand. So I am gonna actually sit over here like this and hope my wrist can make this angle. I can't see anything. Yeah, definitely, if I haven't said it before, definitely should have put these lights on prior to mounting up the fenders. But you know what? Lesson learned, because I got a whole other Morris I got to do this to. All right, done. Actually, now we need to put some protection on the outside since these are going to be exposed, and then feed them through. So let's do that. All right, so we need approximately this much, which is 7 inches. Could get a ruler. But I thought about it after I laid back down, and honestly, I'm tired of getting up and down. So we're gonna cut out a little bit of extra. And then comes the fun of working all this in, especially since I went ahead and gave myself a lot extra. But this honestly shouldn't be that bad. I've done much longer, and it was much tighter. All right, and we're gonna get ourselves a zippity-doo-dah tie. Tie it off at the top. That off. The tie for the bottom. That off, and now we're ready to route through. Starting with the longest wire first. And I wasn't recording any of that. That's awesome. All right, well, you missed me doing this side, but I'm gonna go ahead and you'll get to see the other side because I still got to do it. There's that finished look, and here's what the inside looks like. That nice bundle of wires for wiring in the tail lights later. I do not have a battery installed yet, so that would make that part difficult. Now for the other side. Now this side is going to be more difficult. These are long enough, but I'm going to go ahead and add a section of this just the way I want to ground. It's not going to reach any of those. I could try to frame ground it here, but I don't know that that frame ground is going to be good enough, and I don't want to do all this work and then have to redo it. So I gotta tell you, I love me a good estate sale. I found these in an estate sale for $3. I don't know the technical term. I mean, they're wire strippers, but we had these in the Daniels kits working on the Ospreys, and they're just awesome for stripping wire. So much cleaner. Of course, usually sitting on a bench, so I got more room. What size is that? But no pulling. You just squeeze the lever. I can get it in the right spot. Don't think that's the right size. Oh, that worked. Yeah, you just squeeze it and it pops off, and you got yourself your stripped wires. So much better than this style where you're having to grit it on there and pull the plastic off. But for $3, I don't know how much these things cost, but that was an awesome find. Got a bunch of stuff actually from that estate sale, which I'll show you here in a bit. But might have solved our exhaust question. Like, how, it's so easy. How am I going to do the exhaust? Wasn't sure, had an idea. Actually teased in a video that we might do something with motorcycle exhaust, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I got to thinking about it, and at least with the slip-ons that I had, it was just more restrictive than I'd want it to be. I need to go grab some heat shrink, so I got some other exhaust instead. Let me go grab some heat shrink. Be right back. Where was I? Mentally, I don't know. Physically, here. Did I crimp on the wrong one? I crimped on the wrong one, screwed it up. All right. Make sure you're crimping on the right spot. I did not. That just cost me 20 cents or whatever. I don't know how much. All right, 22.26. Make sure it's on 22.26 this time. All right, pull test, good to go. Slide our heat shrink up there. Got it gun. Pretty sure that heat shrink is one size too big. The size I'd originally grabbed didn't fit over how the thing had crimped. All right, that should be enough wire. I'm gonna go grab one more heat shrink. That's a big mosquito. It's like the Godzilla of mosquitoes. I don't know if you guys caught that on camera. That thing was a monster. It's gonna suck your blood. It's gonna take a chunk of meat out of you. That's better. All right. Now we need that much. Ooh, I need to find a grommet. I don't have a grommet right there. That could slow us down. I'm not sure I have any of that. But I can go ahead and get the wire cover on. But I won't be able to route until I find a grommet. I think I have some, but I'm not certain that I have some. All right, another zippity-doo-dah tie. And that's done. And now I need to go see if I can find about a 3/8, 5/16, ½ inch. You know, it's fun when you're hopeful for something, but you really don't think it's there, but then you actually find one. Perfect fit. Let's get those wires through. A lot easier than the other side. Other side I was having to run with my hand on the inside, pulling them through, because it was a lot. It's a lot of wire. And there we go. Finished project. Finished. Except for the wiring. Finished. All right, on to the next part. All right, I'll check that out. That is so much better in my opinion, which is what matters. than just these tail lights. So I actually, for now, I'm going to leave this on here. But when I bought the 59 Morris, it came with the rear bumper that's in okay condition. I got some repairs to do on it, but I do want to eventually put that bumper on this car. But I think that looks much better with those fenders, stock tail lights. I think it looks good. So at that estate sale I was talking about, I picked this up. 20 bucks. Full 3-inch exhaust. Also came with those two sections down there. What I got to figure out though, which pieces to use, but this is kind of a modern setup, I think. I don't know, I'm not familiar with this style for exhaust, but I know this is what needs to connect to the manifolds. But my manifold connection is at the donut style, which doesn't work with that. So I got to see if I can find an adapter for it, and then I can get that exhaust built. But for $20, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, the big thing is I got my cross tube. Everything's clamped together, nothing's welded together. They'll probably do a bit of both, maybe some clamps and some tack welds. I'm not sure, but it's the same thing down here. How that's just that kind of that bowl setup, which again, I am not familiar with, but I'll figure it out. All right, on to the next thing, which is the fuel pump, I think.